All right, I'm probably the last one on the bandwagon, so to say, of saying something about the Muslim terrorist attacks in France. Other than I don't think our president should have apologized to them for us not having somebody other than the ambassador there for that march that they did or whatever. One, he's got a country to run, a country that's much bigger than France. Yes, that's what ambassadors are for, as our representative. He is the president's representative in that march, so the ambassador was fine. All the other world leaders wanted to march out there showing that they weren't afraid of terrorists. We are. It's obvious. I mean, look at the stop and frisk laws in New York City, all the other laws that they've tried to enact based off of 9/11. The strip searches basically in airports just trying to take a commercial flight. We are afraid of terrorists, so we give up our liberties bit by bit. Those who who are afraid to stand up for liberty lose their liberty. Those who give up liberty in fear don't deserve that liberty to begin with. In response to those attacks, I was staying at the house with my soon-to-be ex-wife because I was having a procedure done on my back. It was just a temporary implant to see if I could gain benefit from a permanent implant, a neurostimulator. They put electrodes next to your spinal cord that stimulate the nerves and hopefully override the pain signals. And they did. I was in the lowest amount, or the least pain that I've been in 7 years. But it had to come back out, so now it's out. Since there were wires hanging out and they went all the way against the dura of your spinal cord, too much risk of infection. So the temporary came out. The permanent's all implanted under the skin. It's induction charged. You wear a belt that charges it through the skin once every week and a half, 2 weeks for a couple hours to charge it back up. The wonders of science. Love science. Gotta love science, especially when it comes to something like that. But anyway, I hadn't even heard anything about the attacks, other than I'd heard a little bit about the cartoonist being killed or whatever. And then the other stuff, I said, that's what religion brings to us. That's what religion gives us. And of course, she had to say not all religions. I said, well, wait a minute. Wasn't it Christians who were shooting abortion doctors, blowing up abortion clinics? Not to mention their vitriol and hatred towards homosexuals, the actions that they take against them, young groups of Christians hanging outside gay clubs to beat up gays if they walk out alone, and even to talking about the cartoonist, their scriptures tell them, their beliefs tell them that they are not supposed to draw a likeness of Muhammad, to try to produce a likeness of Muhammad. That's for them, not for non-believers. Non-believers can draw whatever they like to. They choose to take affront at the cartoons. They choose to take the actions that they take and kill people who don't even follow their faith, so aren't required to follow their strictures, in order to try and control, just like with the Danish cartoons a while back, to try and control what other people do, to try to force people to conform to their religion, whether they believe in it or not. And I asked her, I said, isn't that the exact same thing Christians are doing in the United States right now, trying to get the Bible taught and creationism taught, if not creationism, then intelligent design in science classes, though it's fact, even though there is not a single bit of evidence to support it. So they're trying to indoctrinate our children, all children, no matter what their actual beliefs are, into their faith. Then they try to force other people to conform to their faith by preventing gay marriage, by keeping prostitution illegal, what's the reason for that? If a woman has a nice body or a bad body or whatever kind of body and wants to earn a living having sex with strangers or whoever, that's her choice. That's her free will to decide to do so. And the men who decide to, or women, or it could be a male prostitute. So the customers who decide to make use of the services she offers are exercising their free will and their choice, which these believers supposedly think their God gave us. Yet they think it's their place to stand in front of those. But the Christians are just as bad as the Islamic terrorists. Because with the Islamics, yes, it's the fringe, it's the fanatics who do these acts, or at least we hope. With the Christians, it's the same thing. Evangelical ministers having parents stone their children to death in Nigeria. Other countries trying to make homosexuality a crime punishable by death based off of their beliefs. Trying to force everybody to teach their children their faith as though it is proven fact when it's not. So they're just as bad as these terrorists. They use the exact same tactics. They control people through fear. In this country, it's terrible the grip that they have on our government and the lawmaking process. I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't lose freedom of speech soon. If we didn't have blasphemy laws like some other countries do, which is, again, them trying to control other people and force them to conform to their faith. If I don't believe in God, what does it matter if I say God damn it? It's just an expletive. It's like saying motherfuck. What the shit? What does it matter if I don't believe? Is it harming their God? I don't think so. Of course, I don't believe that God exists, but even if he did, it wouldn't be harming him to say something like that. But they're trying to force their beliefs, their thoughts, their code onto everyone, even those who don't believe in it. So while I am sickened and saddened by the actions of these Muslim, let's hope, extremists, I don't think Christianity is any better. I have seen no reason to believe so. I mean, when a guy kills an abortion doctor and is cheered by the crowd for having done so, cheered by fellow Christians, hailed as a hero for having pulled the trigger and ended this man's life, I no longer have use for any of those people. They're all sick, they're beasts, they're savages, not worth my courtesy or my respect. Yet these same people want to say that their religion is better than the Islam who call their religion the religion of peace. I don't see anything in either of them to show me where the God that they choose to worship, as he's described in their holy books, would be worthy of worship. And based off their actions towards other men and the things that they do, I have no use for any religion. None. And I don't consider Buddhism a religion because Buddha was a man. He wasn't a god. He isn't hailed as a god. You can call it one if you want to. But even that, to me, that's not so much a religion as people choosing to follow the words of somebody they consider wise. And it's a benign religion, so I've got nothing against it. I just don't have any use for it. Why would I consign myself to one wise man's teachings rather than every wise man's teachings? But as in my belated response to the latest Islamic atrocity is that this is what religion gives us. This is what we can expect from religion. And not just the Islamic faith, Christians as well. Maybe James we're okay with. As long as a religion causes no harm, does not preach bigotry and hatred, I've got no issue with it. I don't have any use for it, but I've got no issue with it. But Christianity, the Muslim faith, both of them preach bigotry and hatred. Both of them try to control other people through fear. Both of them try to force other people to conform to what they want to believe, even though, according to them, God gave man free will to decide how he wanted to live this life and what he wanted to do. But the Christians, and as far as I know the Muslims, don't really care what their God did or that their God intended man to have free will. They think it's their place to control everybody else. Of course, they claim they want to save you, but once an apostate, always an apostate. That's the one unforgivable sin. I have heard about the Lord Jesus Christ, as he's called. I don't believe in him. I do not worship that God. There, I'm an apostate. The unforgivable sin according to the Bible. So, there is no saving me. So why force me to conform to what you wish to believe? I think you're all equally evil.